everybody, and welcome to WCNC Charlotte's Off the Clock with Carboni podcast. I'm Nick Carboni, the sports director at WCNC Charlotte. You can catch me here every Monday through Friday at 6 and 11 and after Sunday night football and, of course, Wednesday afternoon football like we had this week. Great guest for you this week as NBA teams start training camps. For Ish Smith, who played at Central Cabarrus High School, then Wake Forest, it's his 11th season, and at 32, he's really hitting his stride as a point guard in the league. He's been on many teams, but is entering year 2 with the Washington Wizards. And I should preface this and tell you this conversation happened last Friday, well before Wednesday's big trade that sent John Wall to the Wizards, from the Wizards to the Rockets in return for Russell Westbrook. So we don't cover that, but we cover a lot. From growing up in a basketball family in Harrisburg, going to Wake Forest to play for the late Skip Prosser, to commanding the attention of the late great Kobe Bryant, and a nomadic NBA career that spanned a decade and 11 teams. Here's Off the Clock with Ish Smith. All right, Ish, we're talking to you a few days before you head back to Washington to get this thing going again. Where are you mentally, having just finished, with the Wizards in the bubble in August and now starting a season, hopefully here 3 weeks into December?
I feel good. I'm excited to be back, excited to get back to it. This is what we do. We're hoopers, so I'm sure we're all excited to get back. It was a blessing that we get a chance to kind of spend this time with our family before we had to go back and get ready for this long haul. But speaking for myself, I'm excited to get back, ready to get back. We had a good little break because when we came back, it was August 15th. So we had a good little break, between then and now to train, to kind of take a little break and then get ready to roll. So I'm excited about it, mentally prepared, physically prepared. And so, it's time to get going.
Well, hopefully there will never be an NBA bubble ever again due to the circumstances leading up to it. But, you have the unique perspective of having lived it, having been in it, and having been there. What was it really like, in that environment? Yeah,
it wasn't bad. I'm gonna be honest with you. Now I'm really like low maintenance when it comes to some of that stuff, but it wasn't bad. It felt like a glorified AAU tournament.
Yeah.
We had the best of the best that were there. Obviously, the NBA did such a great job. NBA, PA, Chris Paul, and everybody, Gary Temple, everybody that was leading the charge. They did such a great job of having us prepared, having everything on point. The NBA did a great job of having us tested, different things like that. So it was really, I'm not even gonna lie to you, it was really, really good, and everything was organized. And so I had no complaints. The food was good. I didn't have any complaints with that either.
Did you get into like ping pong or fishing or anything like that?
You know what? So, most of our team did play Uno, different stuff like that. But for me, I was just kind of chilling. Once I got in my room, I just kind of relaxed because we turned it up really quick. And so I didn't want to move. I wanted to just lay in cold tubs and just relax and just kind of catch my breath. So it was a sprint to the finish, but it was something that the intensity was high. You seen like all the guys, all the coaches around you. And so you got a chance to talk to them and just kind of interact, not only with yourselves, with everybody else. So it was cool. It was good.
So I think it was March 10th, you guys beat the Knicks at home, and then everything kind of happened from there. What was it like to be, kind of waiting and seeing everything happen like the rest of us were, but having the perspective of what's going to happen to the rest of our season?
Yeah, it was, a lot of times you try to control you try to control what you can control. And for me, I was pretty patient about it. Just like, hey, when it's time, it'll be time. And we're all going through this. Not only us as a league, other leagues, and not only as us as a league, people's jobs, everything. So I try to keep things in perspective. I try not to get too high, get too low. That's helped me a lot throughout my life, throughout my career. So for me, it was just a situation where I was like, control the controllable, what you can control. And everything else you got to leave it up to, obviously pray it through. And obviously people higher up knew what they were doing. So you just got to sit back and just kind of do what you can for your part, and then let the rest, let the chips fall where they may.
Do you view last year as your best season in the league? It's close. Statistically, it's close. I mean, I thought some of the numbers were even up.
Yeah, it was good last year. Last year I shot 37 from 3. I still can improve free throw shooting. I want to get that up to 80, 3-point up to 40, field goal percentage up. But in the role and in the position of being a backup, my goal each and every year is to be the best backup in the league. And each and every day, that's what I try to bring. So it's going to be interesting, coming back with John and everybody coming back. So it's going to be fun. But last year was cool. Now you got to improve your game and hopefully it results in more wins. And that's the main goal. When you can play at a high level and help your team win, that's the key.
One more question about coming into this year. When you have all this stuff, and you've been through it before being in the league so long, with especially your position on the team, like is this person going to be back? How's this going to fit? Like, how do you handle that mentally as all of that kind of swirls around every silly season in the NBA?
Yeah, well, for me, I just try to prepare the same because you can start 1 minute and then you can come off the bench 1 minute. So for me though, it's just go hoop, just go play. We're excited to have J5 back, John Wall back, man. I'm so excited having him back, North Carolina native. So we're excited about that. And signing Davis, signing Nato, and having Cassius Winston. I was in Detroit when I watched him play in Michigan State. And then Robin, which is it's funny. Robin, I remember watching Robin. He probably don't remember this, but I watched Robin when we was at NBA camp together.
Oh, really? Okay.
And his mom used to be there, and they used to take stats. She used to be sitting there taking stats. And but yeah, so I'm excited about all signing Davis and then everybody's coming back. So we're excited about it. And I think for each individual person, especially when I think of myself, you just gotta improve each and every year. And I'm thankful that each year I continue to improve and continue to improve, and that's all you can do. Again, control what you can control.
All right, let's get back to your early days here. Did you grow up in Concord or Charlotte? I know you went to Central Cabarrus.
Yes, I went to Central Cabarrus. I grew up in Harrisburg, North Carolina.
Okay.
It's in between.
Kind of in between.
Between Charlotte and Concord. It's 20 minutes to Charlotte, 10 minutes to Concord. So I grew up right there in the suburbs of Charlotte. But we played at Central. So we played in the MEC 8. So that's North MEC, Hardin, Vance, Hopewell, I'm West Charlotte. So played majority of my high school basketball in Charlotte. And then we would go in the county and play the county schools and whoop up on them. But our competition was going to play playing the Mecca 8 and competing. So I'll probably say I lived in both sides.
Is Charlotte area basketball, is it underrated? I mean, there's we had the 4th pick in the draft this year was a West Charlotte kid. You got a bunch of kids that signed contracts, and there's, a lot of guys sprinkled all over the roster. Is it a little underrated a little bit?
Oh, super underrated. I seen somebody talk about North Carolina as a whole as a hoop state, which I agree with that. And then obviously Charlotte is the biggest city, so obviously we're going to have the most, I would like to think the most talent. No offense, we're still a family, we're still a team here in North Carolina, but I must say, man, Charlotte basketball is really good. Charlotte basketball is really, really good. I mean, North MEC was, I heard last year or this year was top 25 team in the country.
Yep.
And we know how Dwayne does such a great job. I played against Dwayne for 4 years straight. And he does such a great job of preparing his guys, getting guys to the next level. So I agree with you. I think Charlotte basketball is the best of the best.
All right, tell me about the Smith family growing up. It seems like a tight-knit family, and it seems like a big family, and is it a basketball family?
It is, and it was introduced to me. So my dad loves basketball. My mom loves basketball.
Yep.
My dad, we used to go watch him play church league at Victory Christian Center. So we grew up at that church, and then we moved out to the county. So used to watch him play. We used to support him as a family. We used to think that was
it's like the NBA when you're watching it as a kid.
Yeah, you couldn't tell me my dad wasn't better than Michael Jordan when we was younger. And then, but my dad used to record all these tapes, Michael Jordan tapes, Isaiah Thomas tapes, all these old school tapes because he wanted me to get the basis of the game of basketball. And this was in the early 90s. So I was born in 88. This was early 90s. And it's funny, my mom got them stacked up on the table in her house right now. All these VHS tapes. So we were a tight-knit family. My sister Lativia is the oldest, 8 years older than me. Salithia is the second oldest, 5 years. Me and my brother 11 months apart. I'm the third one. Then my baby brother is the fourth one. So we're very tight knit. My oldest sister made a lot of sacrifices, picked me and my brother up for like AAU practices.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest, Salithia, actually is my second oldest. She actually was really good at Central Cabarrus.
Yep.
She was really, really talented. And my brother plays and coaches. Well, he played and now he coaches. My dad is at First Assembly coaching now. So, yes, it's a basketball family. Then my cousin Chad, his son plays basketball. My second cousin, yeah. So it's a very, very, very tight-knit family and a basketball family. And so it's been good. That's all we do. That's all we do is eat, sleep, and drink basketball. So I even got my mom call me sometimes like, why'd you miss that shot? I'm like, Mom, just chill.
Involvement is a blessing and a curse, I guess, sometimes. But it sounds like a good base.
You know what? I'd rather have it that way
Mm-hmm.
than the other way. Even though sometimes it can be, for me as I've gotten older, it doesn't bother me. But younger, it could be like overbearing. But for me, I never really tripped because it was something I wanted to do. And I know people just wanted the best for me. And so if that's something that I wanted to do, they were going to try to push and press me. And they didn't need to push me. I was going to push myself.
Yeah.
But they were going to try to give the right words of encouragement. And then when you hear stories about guys being like, man, I would have loved for my mother and father to be that overbearing or underbearing, whatever the case is, just to be there. You really, it's sad that you have to hear a situation from somebody else to not take your family for granted, but sometimes it gives you a good little wake-up call.
All right, so you go to Wake Forest. What's your experience like there? I mean, you're still in the top two or leading assist, guy there. I mean, a great career there. And then where would you have gone if you didn't? I always like to ask that question. Not everybody likes to answer it, but
No. I can answer it. So when I answered that first. I answered your second question first. So coming out of high school, UNC Charlotte offered me in my 10th grade year, Bobby Lutz. But the only thing about UNC Charlotte is they was transitioning from the Conference USA to the Atlantic 10.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was growing up, Conference USA was easily a top 3 conference. You had Louisville, Memphis, Louisville, Cincinnati. UNC Charlotte was good every year. Marquette. I seen Dwayne Wade for the first time playing at Marquette. So you get those moments, but they were transitioning to the Atlantic 10, and I'm like, do I really, no offense to Atlantic 10, I think it's special. Obviously, it's been great players. Steph played in the Atlantic 10, or he might have been in the SoCon before they transitioned to the A10. But UNC Charlotte, I remember I love Oliver Purnell when he was at Clemson. They offered me Xavier. At the time it was Sean Miller and Chris Mack was the assistant coach.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, it was between Xavier, Wake, and Clemson. I love Coach Purnell. And Coach Purnell and they played the way we wanted to play. I played in high school. So if it wasn't Wake, it was going to be between Xavier and Clemson.
Gotcha.
But then transitioning to college. College was difficult. College wasn't the easiest thing, but I'm glad I went to college and experienced it for 4 years because it kind of built up the toughness that I was going to go through when I went to the NBA and different teams and the ups and downs and different things like that. So my freshman year, I come in and it's funny. First 7 games of the season, I'm hooping. I'm thinking college basketball, kind of like what Tua Tagovailoa said, oh, this college basketball isn't hard. I remember averaging 8 assists a game. We were 6-0. And then from there, I remember having my first major injury. I tore a ligament in my thumb. And you never know the things and the body parts you need until they hurt. And so that year, we started struggling, ups and downs. And that year, we had 6 freshmen, 5 sophomores, and 2 seniors.
Wow.
And so, so we went through our ups and downs and I finished in 11. And I played that whole year with a torn ligament in my thumb. So then we get surgery at the end of the year. And we're like, all right, we got Jeff Teague coming in, James Johnson, Gary Clark. We lose Kyle Visser and Mike Drum. But we got a lot of our guys back. So we're like, okay, this is going to be a better year. Skip's there, whatever the case is. Skip passes away. We're like, oh, my gosh, what is happening? And then a woman that I really, truly love, and I can't go a day without thinking about her, Miss Battle's wife. Jeff Battle, who was Miss Battle was his wife, and we lost her. Oh, that was something. I got really tight with her my freshman year, and so we lose her. So now I'm like, I've never lost up into that moment somebody that was close to me, and these are people that you're seeing on everyday basis.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my gosh. So we would go play in the ACC, and it was ups and downs that year. Couldn't make a freaking free throw that year. It was just a lot of ups and downs. It was just frustrating. So then we come in my junior year. So that year we end up finishing like 8th or 9th. Didn't make it to any postseason play or whatever the case is. We was like 17, 18 and 13, something like that. Finished 7 and 9 in the ACC. So then we transitioned to my junior year, and it's like, all right, this year we're gonna be high. And we started the season. We brought in out. Nobody graduated. Brought in Al Farouk Aminu, Tony Woods, and Ty Walker. So we're like, all right, let's roll. Let's get it. And then we're in practice playing. I break my foot. 5th metatarsal, break my foot. So I'm like, but I will tell you this. That helped me so much because what happened was once I saw Jeff and James, they took their game to another level. Now, we knew Al Farouk. All he had to do is like smile the right way, and he was going to the next level.
Yeah.
That was it. Jeff and James really took that game to another level. And when I was hurt, I would sit and watch them play. And I was like, when I get back from being hurt, I can't like let them pull me. No. We need to be running beside each other. Like like if y'all, we need to be playing at the same level. And those guys took the level of the team up. We ended up being number 1 in the country. That year was really fun. We had 4, like Jeff, James, Al Farouk, and myself, who were all pros. And then that's not including David Weaver, L.D. Williams, who were pros. Chase McFarland played a little bit overseas. Tony Woods, Ty Walker. We were loaded. Gary Clark could shoot the crap out of it.
Yeah.
Harvey Hill. We were really, really talented. When I look at that team, I'm like, that was the most talented team in the NBA. I mean, in the at that time, Carolina was really good because they had Ty Lawson, Danny Green, Tyler Hansberg. They was talented. So then my senior year, no injuries, and we ended up losing in the second round to the John Wall team. And so my college career was a lot of ups and downs, but at the end of the day, I enjoyed it because it built my endurance, my toughness to get ready for the next level.
Yeah, just going back a little bit, what is it like to be a college player and have the coach pass away? I mean, that was, I know how shocking it was to everybody else.
That was tough. That was tough because me and Skip was really tight.
Yeah.
And it was a coach where like I knew he wanted the best for me. So he would lay into me, but then he would put his arm around me. And every day I would go up to his office. Every day, sit up in his office. And we would just sit in there and talk. He'd turn on the film, whatever. We'd be watching tape or could be watching Steve Nash, whatever the case is. He would flip it on, we would talk. We would sit there and talk. And this was every single day. So this was really like my father away from home.
Yeah.
And so we would sit there and just be watching, talking. And that was hard. That was difficult because you start thinking about all the times that you wish you would have been like, man, I should have cherished that time a little bit more and talked to him a little bit more. Then it didn't help because every road game we went on, like they would do a
tribute or something,
a tribute video, and that was tough. So you're getting ready to go beat Carolina in the Dean Dome, and you look up and it's like, dang. And then you would look at your coaches. Guys are emotionally drained. Coaches, Dino would be sitting there drained, and Dino was special. Our coaching staff was unbelievable at weight. Like I love our coaching staff was unbelievable. So that was tough and kind of sudden.
Yeah, just remember how shocking that was when Coach Prosser passed away at the age of 56. Thank you to Ish for getting into that. Now we get into his NBA career, from undrafted guy to mainstay in Philly, Detroit, and now DC. But there was a lot of moving around in between. We continue Off the Clock with Ish Smith. Yeah, thanks for touching on that a little bit. I want to get to your being undrafted and working your way in a bit. I'll frame it a little bit differently, but just looking at statistically and going through the reference pages, looks like October 26, 2010 was either your NBA debut or the first time you showed up on a box sheet. I don't know which it is, and it looks like it was at Kobe and the Lakers. What do you remember about that night, if that was the first time?
That was the first time. It was funny because I was undrafted, and when I went undrafted, Houston actually called God rest his soul, BJ Johnson, who just, passed away on a bicycle accident. He saw me my sophomore year, and he told me, I remember I scored 4 points against Florida State. Just to give you a little background, I'm trying to make sure it's not a long story. I scored 4 points against him. And I'm walking through, me and my mom, my sisters, we're all walking through the back of Joel. And BJ runs and stops us and says, he's going to be a pro. And I'm not just talking about like a kid who can just play. No, he's going to be special. And I'm like, I just scored 4 points. What is he talking about? And so he says, no, one thing that you can't teach is speed. Speed kills. And I'm like, Now, Jeff just scored 28. This other dude, he's talking to me about, like, I'm sitting there like, yeah. So fast forward to the draft. I remember, like the 45th pick, I get a call from my agent. He's like, Houston wants to sign you to a 2-year deal. The second year being non-guaranteed. But they want to make sure that nobody else are going to draft you. So I'm going to call all the teams. If Houston's the team you want to go on, I'm going to call all the teams or call the teams that are picked, has the next 15 picks, and tell them not to draft you. Because I tell people it's not how high you get drafted, what number you get drafted, is where you get drafted. It's like the team that wants you. You can go undrafted. I seen the kid Dotson. I'm like, if he's in the right spot in Chicago, that's going to be perfect for him. It doesn't really matter. People don't, Fred VanVleet, it doesn't matter. What matters is where it fits and where your fits is. So, and if that team really likes you. So anyway, he calls out a team. I end up going to Houston. And so then training camp, make the team, whatever the case is. Didn't even know I needed to make the team. I just was hooping. I thought I signed a contract and I was fine. Right. And I had and so we get, all of a sudden, I think Kyle Lowry gets hurt training camp, like gets banged up in training camp. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself like, oh, shucks, like I'm about to really, really play. Yeah. So this was the year we thought we were going to really, we had Yao, we had Brad Miller, we had Aaron Brooks as our starter, Kyle Lowry as a backup. We were loaded. Shane, Battier, Jared Jeffries, Kevin Martin. Like, we thought we were going to be, like, really, really good. And Chase Buninger, Jordan Hill. And so all of a sudden, Courtney Lee, like, dang, we was really good. Now I think about it. I ain't even think. So Chuck Hayes, dang. So all of a sudden, they're like, yo, is you going to start? I mean, I start, you going to come off the bench behind Aaron. And I'm like, oh, shucks. Like, Kyle, like, really hurt. And this is a TNT game, the first opening night. TNT game. And you remember the year before, the Lakers, I think
they won
it all.
Yeah,
sure
I
did.
think.
So
yeah,
they had just won it all. Yeah, because Boston won it 08, 09.
And then they flipped.
The Lakers won it 09, 10. And then 10, 11 was the year that Dallas won it. Yep. And so we were like, all right, cool. Like, we about to play the defending champs. And we got Yao back. So it was box office. So I'm in there. I don't even know how many points I scored. I don't even know. Like, I think I might have scored 2 or 4. I don't even know.
I'll get it for you in a second. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know. But I remember that game, and I remember being so nervous. But as soon as the ball, like, as soon as he called my name, I went in there and, like, I calmed down. So it was kind of cool. And to my first game to be against Kobe, man. Kobe was special, man. Like, it's Kobe's Kobe, man. Kobe's Kobe. I think words can't express how great he is, his work ethic, and how much of a leader he was, how much motivational speaking he would give you, and it would inspire you. Like, listening to him talk is kind of like watching Rocky IV. Like, you can't sit down. You got to, like, go train and go work out. And that's who Kobe was.
Did you have any other interactions with him besides, just being an opposing player?
Yeah, like he no. Just seeing him, But it was funny. It's a funny story because we played them later that year. Yeah. And I remember, I'm fast. So I'm pushing it, playing fast. And I come down and I score a layup. And he looks at, I don't know if it was D-Fish or Jordan Farmer. I don't know who he looked at. But he says, hey, man, slow this fast month down. That's what he says. Slow this fast MFer down. Like, and so that, that felt good because you're like, yo, this Kobe.
He's got your attention. You got his attention.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. So that was a funny little basketball interaction. Yeah. You know what I mean? Hit him, do something. Slow his half-ass MFing behind down. I'm like, oh Lord. So, but yeah, that kind of experience is what, you start thinking about when you think about the legacy, how he interacted and with everybody and how he touched so many people.
All right, you had an assist in that game, 0 for 1 from the field, but you got your first bucket the next night at Golden State, it looks like.
Okay, that works. That works.
Tell me about those first 6 years in the league for you, and just as a human being, having to just back and forth, G League, NBA, this team, that team. I think closing in on 10 teams those first 6 years.
Yeah. What was that like to live through?
Thank God I wasn't married with any kids.
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny. I see so many people. I don't think it's bad. I think the Lord probably just had something different from me. Like, I don't think it was bad that people got married in college, or they got married in college and then rode the wave. Like, for me, it just wasn't going to be that way.
Yeah.
So I'm just thankful nobody else had to go through that, because that's a lot of transition. But I was okay with it because I knew I had this little saying that the next move was always going to be the best move. And that's what I would tell myself. Not even going to lie to you, I thought initially when I was in Houston, I thought I played well enough to where they were going to like me. And, when I see the stories of Fred and hopefully Dotson and I see so many other undrafted rookies, people really invest. Like, y'all like this kid. He's going to be here. We'll work through it, whatever the case is. This is what I'll say is people didn't see this guy, so we slipped up and got a gem. And so that's what I thought, Houston was going to be. And Daryl Morey was great when he was there with me. He really did. He worked with me. And but that wasn't my case. So for me, I had to keep fighting, keep pushing, keep pressing, find my way. And so that's what I would always tell myself. And everywhere I had to go, I had to play well and hold my own, because if I didn't, that could have been the last transaction and I would have been out the league. So I knew every time. But it wasn't difficult. I experienced a lot of people, talked to a lot of guys, cities. I experienced a lot of cities. But I knew that I eventually had to get to my right spot to get the right opportunity. And I got that in Philly.
Yep. And then, Detroit, you find – so you really feel like that was in Philly for you?
Yeah, Philly was the position to me to where, like, I played every night consistently for, like, that first transaction from Oklahoma City. I remember flying on that plane because I thought I was going to go back to Phoenix.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Philly in the trade, because I got traded to New Orleans and then released. And then Philly picked me up, and I remember being on a plane, and I remember telling myself, like, yo, this has to work. If this doesn't work, I'm out. Like, this is probably my last stop, because this is going to be the chance. Everybody else, the other 5, 6 teams or 8 teams, wherever I was those first 5, 6 years, were situations where it was like, he's a good locker room guy. He's not going to cause us any fuss. Like, all those different things. And every time we put him out there, he plays well enough. He plays well. But can he do that consistently every single night? And I had not been given an opportunity to do that yet. So when I got to Philly, I was like, all right, this got to work, because I'm going to play these next 25 games consistently, because we were taking consistently every single night. I'm going to have to play well, or play well enough. And I think that was the average, like 12 or 13-5 or something like that.
Yeah. And
had some pretty big games. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then the next year, New Orleans, I think I was like top 5 in assists early in that year. Got traded back to Philly. And when I came back to Philly, I averaged like 15 a game, 15-7, 15-8. So it was a situation where I was like, all right, cool. Then I got in Detroit, and Stan taught me how to be very efficient in 25 minutes, very efficient. Give 12 and 5 and 15 in that 25-minute stand, and be something different off the bench that people weren't used to. So Stan was huge for me too. And then from those 3 years, then it's been these 2 years. So it's funny because my career has been flipped. It's been like most people come in and they kind of hit that burst. Mine has been in my 30s. Yeah. And which is okay with me.
How do you move? How do you handle all? I've moved a couple times and I hate it. I don't know, how do you even do that at a drop of a hat logistically?
It's funny. All I would do is I would rent. Salithia was huge during that time for me, my sister. when she would do it, what I would do is I would do court furniture.
Yeah.
And I would do month to month.
Yeah.
So like I rented my court furniture, and then basically TVs, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what I would do when it was time to leave, just pack all my stuff up,
get the clothes and
court
go.
furniture. Yeah, just go call court furniture, tell them to come get the stuff, and I'll be out. So I got in like a good little rhythm. Houston was the first place I bought a place and bought some furniture.
Yeah.
And then after that time, I was like, all right, listen, I don't know how this is gonna be until somebody signed me to a 2 or 3 year deal. I'm not gonna do that anymore. So I would get like, I bought a place, not bought a place. I rented a place in OKC. It was at home. It was nice, but I didn't buy anything but a couch. I rented the rest of the stuff. So I got into a pretty cool routine, and my god brother Manuelo West, he helped me out in OKC because he lived in OKC. And I remember when I moved, he wrapped my TVs up for me and shipped them to me, and then shipped my couch with me, shipped my couch to my mom's house. And so that's what I did. I just kind of I just always, like I said, the next move was going to be the best move. And I had to be ready and prepared to, if I got that call, all right, I'm out, y'all.
Wrap it up with a few more. Your camps, developmental camps, have been really, really cool to go to over the last few years. Where do those kind of stand now? Did you have to miss them this year? And do you have any coming up for 21?
Yeah. So we will get back rolling next year. And I thought about, my cousin Chad brought up something that I thought was kind of cool. He wanted me to do it virtually. But then when the bubble started and all that stuff, it kind of got lost in the mix. But we will get back started next year, and I've enjoyed it. It started with like 70 kids, which is kind of cool to start with 70 kids. And I remember when I first started, people didn't know because I was playing in Phoenix. People didn't even know I played in the NBA. They was like, "Oh, you playing the NBA? Oh, cool." They didn't even know. And so that transition is joined to now. Kids are coming all over the freaking state. People are coming from different counties and states to come to the camp. So it's kind of cool to see how my family has done such a great job of kind of growing it. I'm a part of the camp. I don't single myself out. I do my ball handling station. We get it consistently 115, 120 kids every year. I think one year it got up to about 150. So it's going really, really well. It's been going well. I'm truly blessed. For me, it has nothing to do with like people coming. It could be 2 kids. It doesn't matter to me. For me, I just want to make sure that I'm able to, with everything that my father gave to me and all these great coaches I've had, or whoever mentors has spoken to me about the game of basketball, I want to get that back. I want to give that back times 10. So that's what the camp represents to me. And it's been fun. It's been growing every year. And so if we got 150 kids there, then that means I can touch 150 kids. That's perfect.
Ish, I'll wrap it up with this. We've got 3 guards, you kind of talked about a little bit, 3 guards from Charlotte that went undrafted and now are on teams. You've got Devon Dotson, like you said, with the Bulls. Got Tyshawn Alexander, I can't remember exactly where he went, and Nate Hinton, who is down in Dallas. You said, it's not when you get selected or picked up, it's who you're with. But beyond that, what would your advice be to them and really a young Ish Smith about what to do from here?
If I had to change anything, I wouldn't change anything for myself. Because I knew eventually I was going to get here. And it's still another level for me. So I'm excited about that. But for them, I'm excited about the path they're making. And I want them to keep that edge. Like, you guys made a mistake. All 60 teams who didn't draft me, you made a mistake. And you step out there and you give it 100% every time you hit the floor. You kill in practice. I don't care if the starter wants to rest or not. I don't care if you step between these lines. You go out there and you leave your mark on that team, to where coaches like Shane Battier told me something, and it stuck with me to this day. He said, my job as a player is when the coach is making a decision, when he's walking down that bench to grab somebody, I have to be so good every time I step on that floor that he has no choice but to say, come on, Shane. He said, Ish, that's how you got to be. And that resonated with me even then. And so for those guys, play. Guards, it's becoming a guards game. So it's really to our advantage. And keep pushing, keep pressing. And I hope and pray you don't have to go through what I went through. You know, I hope the road is easier. Really, honestly, I hope the road is easier. And I know at that time, Undrafted probably wasn't the most popular pick. Now I think it's with Fred and myself and a lot of other undrafted guys going in there. I think now you can find talent in the second round, being undrafted overseas. It's not just a first round thing. So I'm excited about those guys to see their career and to represent for this beautiful city, man, North Carolina. The state of North Carolina, and for Charlotte, it really is good, and I'm proud of them.
All right, Ish. Like you said, I think you're trending up, man, here in your early 30s. I think you're going to have a great back half, so I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it and seeing you at your next camp.
Appreciate you, man. Yeah, next year, man. I'll see you next year.
Ish will be playing in Charlotte a couple times this year, as always, and we wish him the best and thank him for taking the time. That was one of the best conversations I think we've had. Again, join me on WCNC Charlotte weeknights at 6 and 11 for NBA, Hornets, and Panthers coverage and more. We'll see you next time on the Off the Clock podcast.